Alright, Jake Phelps here. In this video I'm going to go ahead and explain exactly how it is that I sharpen chainsaw blades. A lot of people don't seem to get this, but a chainsaw blade being sharp is the most important thing to any firewood business or any firewood, etc. related curricular or extracurricular activity. And I'm going to go ahead and go over a couple quick points with it right now. Every time I sharpen the chain, I make sure to sharpen the actual tooth, and I'll show all this when I'm actually demonstrating this. But you have to be sure to sharpen the actual tooth, and you have to be sure to take down the guide type thing. You'll see what I'm talking about later. But with all that out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and dull this thing up a little bit first to to show that it is dull prior to sharpening it. Alright, so let's get to it. Alright, that should do it. Alright, like I said in the other video, your blade being sharp is the most important thing as far as processing firewood's concerned or anything else in the forestry industry. This is the single most important thing. And the trick I've found over the years is not to be too methodical about it, but to try to find a happy medium between speed and efficiency, so that your blade is sharp enough to get you through, but you can do it quick. And a lot of people do this a whole lot of different ways, but this is the way in which I found is the best. And one thing that's really important, to me at least, is the tightness of the blade. I like to keep mine something like that, so that when you pull up, the guide linkage that goes into the bar just barely comes above. And when the saw heats up, when you're cutting and whatnot, the steel on the blade, since it's different than the actual bar, when it heats up, it'll shrink a little bit and it'll suck it in. So it seems loose looking at it now, but it's actually right about how I like it. Because like I said, once you start running the saw and stuff heats up, or I don't know, something, it tightens up a little bit. And another thing is, whenever you adjust the chain or put a new chain on, I'll generally just keep a chain on until I've used it up, because I don't really need to take them off that often, because I kind of know what I'm doing. But when you do need to take them off or undo the nut that keeps the bar and the chain on there, you want to make sure that before you tighten it up, you press this down so that it brings the bar upwards before you tighten it. So while you're tightening the nut or the nuts, the last nut, if there's two of them, you want to keep it like that so that it keeps all this elevated. Alright, so with all that general stuff out of the way, I'm just going to go ahead and do this. And as far as marking's concerned, you should be able to tell where you've sharpened and where you haven't. So that should be self-explanatory. Like a lot of blades, they'll have something on them or something, but the way I do it, I just kind of go with it and figure it out. I can tell where I've sharpened and where I haven't. So that's generally the intro to this little presentation. And like you saw earlier, I've been using this blade for a while. It's pretty dull. And I like to, like I was talking about earlier also, I hit these and then I hit these every single time I do this. So I hit both. Some people will just do the teeth and then like every so often they'll come through and do that. I just kind of knock it all out in one go. And also with my grinding stone, this is the tool I use. It's a RotoZip. It's a very high RPM. As you can tell by that. And it just gets the job done fast. And it's not a lot of not a whole lot of trying to be all technical and shit. You just get the job done. And you know, you just gotta sharpen the blade, and this way works very well. And I use a larger stone than is recommended for whenever I'm sharpening a blade. Just because I found that it's easier to go a little bit bigger than to go a little bit smaller. It just because the way that the teeth are, a stone that's a little bit too big is going to be okay as far as your angle is concerned. And not to mention, it makes it easier so that you don't have to switch out bits when you hit these as well. And if you just watch how I do this, it'll explain a whole lot on my whole entire process. So let's get to it. And I'm kind of at a weird angle, and I'm trying not to hit the stand I have the phone on and stuff. But in a nutshell, that's how I do it. And then the way I do this part is, because I like to, when I'm not filming this stuff, I generally like to start out here and then work my way back. But I got, you know, it's cumbersome with all this equipment around me and stuff. And I always like to stand up when I'm doing this, like I am in this video. And this is generally where I sharpen a saw. So that's a good level right here. And it's easier to work on and what have you. And you can use a glove or something for this, but I'll generally just kind of, you know, I got a hoodie on, it's got a pocket. I'll generally just kind of grab onto it and pull it forward a little bit and then resume.